Hey everybody, it's Jake here, and today I'm going to be showing off my compilation CD collection. Now, before we get started, I'm just going to say I've got a lot of compilation albums. However, I will not be including compilation soundtrack albums or compilation Christmas albums. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get started. So first is 101 80s hits. Really careful. Okay. Alright. Next is 101 90s hits. Careful. Oops, that's got to fall out. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, next is 101 beer songs. Now, these are not songs about beer. These are songs that you can listen to while enjoying a beer or two. Oh, it's stuck. There we go. Right, next is 101 more 80s hits. Careful. Okay, next is 101 Aussie hits. So basically, these are all songs released by Australian artists. Alright, next is 101 love songs. Okay, next is 101 barbecue songs. Now, these are not songs relating to barbecues. These are songs you can listen to while cooking food on the barbie. Alright, next is 101 floor fillers. Almost dropped it. Alright, next is 101 noughts hits. Alright, next is 101 housework songs. So basically songs you can listen to while doing chores around the house. Right. Next is 101 power ballads. Oh, bloody hell. Alright. Next is 101 60s hits. Okay. Next is 101 70s hits. Alright. Next is 101 DIY songs. Now, these are songs that you can listen to while you're working on some DIY jobs like construction work. Okay, next is 101 country classics. Okay, next is 101 club classics. Oop, almost forgot the little booklet. There we go. Alright, next is 101 summer songs. So basically songs they are best enjoyed listening to during the summer. Alright. Next is 101 ultimate 80s. Next is 101 driving songs. So basically songs you can listen to while driving in the car. Alright, next is 101 one-hit wonders. So basically bands and artists known for only one song. And next is 101 movie songs, which is basically a songs that have appeared in various movies. Right. Next is 101 indie anthems. Now, for those who don't know, indie is short for independent, so just independent music. Next is 101 more housework songs. So like I said before with the other housework songs, it's basically songs you can listen to while doing chores around the house. And next is 101 voices. So basically bands and artists with such amazing singing voices. Alright, next is 101 R&B hits. Okay, next is 101 number ones. So basically, these songs that went to number one on the Australian charts. Alright, next is 101 ultimate beer songs. So like I said before with the other beer songs album, it's songs you can listen to while enjoying a beer or two. Whoop, get back here you. Alright, next is 101 pop hits. Alright, next is 101 jukebox hits. So basically songs from the 50s and 60s is that people played on the jukebox. Next is 101 sporting anthems, which is basically songs you hear at sporting events like the AFL, cricket, soccer, and all that. Next is 101 80s hits platinum edition, which is basically songs from the 80s that went platinum in Australia. Alright, next is 101 ultimate Aussie hits, which is a lot of songs released by Australian artists. Alright, next is 101 legends. So it's basically bands and artists that are considered legends in the music industry. Alright, next is 101 rock hits. Next is 101 party songs. So basically songs you can play at like a birthday party or whatever. Alright, next is 101 dance hits. Oh, get back here, you. Get back here, you. Get back in there. Alright, next is 101 more R&B hits. Right, next is 101 Greatest Housework Songs. So like I said before, it's a song that you can listen to while doing chores around the house. Right, next is 101 Guilty Pleasures, which is basically songs that people consider their guilty pleasure hits. Next is 101 Party Starters, which is basically songs you can best to start a party with. Oh, get back here, you. Alright, next is 101 Greatest Ballads. Get back here, you. Alright, next is 101 Songs for Dad, which is basically songs that dads would love. Alright, next is 101 90s for Mums, which is basically songs from the 90s that mums would love. Alright, next is 101 Classic Hits. Next is 101 Mums the Naughties, which is basically songs from the noughties that mums would love. Okay, next is 101 Dads the Naughties, which is basically songs for the naughties that dads would love. Right, next is songs from the 100 best Australian albums. Alright, next is 30th Anniversary ARIA Awards. So this contains a song from people who won ARIA Awards for either Album of the Year or Single of the Year / Song of the Year from 1987 to 2015. And next is K-Zone The Hits. And so it's a song, so it's an album to coincide with the Kids magazine. And next is K-Zone The Hits Volume 2. And this actually comes with a bonus DVD with a couple of music videos. Right, next is Classic Countdown, which is basically a collection of songs from the TV, from bands and artists that performed on the Australian TV series Countdown from 1974 to 1987. Alright, next is decade of number ones, 80s. So basically, his songs that reached number one in the 80s in Australia. Alright, next is Putumayo Kids presents Australian Playground. And it's basically songs by an Australian artist. And next is Putumayo presents Australia, which is basically songs by Australian artists. Next is Don't Stop to Drop, which is a collection of dance hits. Okay, next is Disney Classics Volume 1. And so it's a collection of songs from various Disney media. Alright, next is Disney Classics Volume 2. Okay, next is Disney Classics Volume 3. Next is Disney Classics Volume 4. Next is Disney Classics Volume 5. Alright, next is 50 Years of Australian Rock and Roll. Next is Dance Till You Drop, which is a collection of dance party songs. Next is 80 from Australia. So it's basically 80 classic Australian songs. Alright, next is Flood Relief, Artists for the Flood Appeal, which is basically a compilation of albums in which the money was donated to victims of the Queensland floods of 2011. Next is Nickelodeon Kids' Choice 06. So this is the album to coincide with the 2006 Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. Next is Talking About Your Generation. So it's a collection of songs from generations Baby Boomers, Generation X, and Generation Y to coincide with the TV series. Oop. Oop. Right, next is Pop for Tots. Alright, now the next few albums are related to the Australian TV show 20 to 1. So the first is 20 to 1 Party Songs. Next is 20 to 1 One Hit Wonders. Next is 20 to 1 Great Aussie Songs. Next is 20 to 1 World's Best Love Songs. Next is 20 to 1 Breakup Songs. Alright, and the last 20 to 1 related album is 20 to 1 Rock and Roll Anthems. Right, next is Richard Wilkins presents 39 number one hits of the 80s. Next is Richard Wilkins presents 38 more smash hits of the 80s. Alright, next is Richard Wilkins presents Songs from the Red Carpet, which is basically a collection of songs from various movies. Next is the 5 CD Mega Box Aussie Rock Classics. Alright, next is Pepsi More Music Volume 7. Alright, next is Pepsi Rock. Get back at you. Alright, next is the best movie album in the world ever. So basically a collection of songs from various movies. Next is the best movie album in the world ever 2. So more songs from movies. Come on, you. Alright, next is the best Disney album in the world ever. So basically a collection of various songs from Disney media. Please. Next is Classic Disney. So basically a collection of Disney's songs. Next is Reader's Digest Australia's Hall of Fame Volume 2. Next is Country Kids. So this is one of many ABC for Kids compilation albums that I have. Next is 101 solid gold hits. So we'll start with the first pack. Oop. And now for the second pack. Alright, next is 100 solid gold hits 2. So start, oops, no, this is the first pack, oops. And now the second pack. Alright, next is great original hits of the 80s. So I'll start with the first pack. See what's going to happen. Get back in there, you. And here's the second pack. next is All the Aussies Disc 1. Next is All the Aussies Disc 2. Next is All the Aussies Disc 3. Alright, next is Hits for Kids Volume 1. Next is Hits for Kids Volume 2. Oop. Sorry about that. Okay, next is Hits for Kids Volume 3. Get back here, you. Alright, next is Hits for Kids Volume 4. Alright, next is Hits for Kids Volume 5. Next is Hits for Kids Volume 6. Excuse me. Next is Hits for Kids Volume 7. Next is Hits for Kids Pop Party. Alright, next is Hits for Kids Pop Party 2. Alright, next is Hits for Kids Volume 8. Next is Hits for Kids Pop Party 3. Come on. Thank you. Please. Next is Hits for Kids Volume 9. Next is Hits for Kids Pop Party 4. And next is Hits for Kids Volume 10. Excuse me. Next is Hits for Kids Pop Party 5. Next is Hits for Kids Pop Party 6. Next is Hits for Kids Pop Party 7. And next is Hits for Kids Pop Party 8. And next is Hits for Kids Pop Party 9. Alright, next is Hits for Kids Pop Party 10. Cross. Alright, frame. Alright, next is the best single of all time, Volume 1, the 60s. Alright, next is the best singles of all time, Volume. Wait, yeah. So yeah, this is From the best thing of all time, Volume 1, just to avoid confusion. It says 60s. And there's disc 2, which is the 60s. And next is disc 3, the 70s. And next is disc 4 from the 70s. And next is disc 5, which is the 80s. And next is disc 6 with the 80s. Alright, next is disc 7, which is songs from the 90s. Right, next is disc 8 with songs from the 90s. Next is disc 9 with number 1s, so songs with the number 1 in Australia. And next is disc 10 with number 1s. Alright, next is the best singles of all time, volume 2. And so this is the second volume of songs, so this is got 60s. Alright, next is disc 2 with songs from the 60s. Alright, next is disc 3 with songs from the 70s. Next is disc 4 with songs from the 70s. Alright, next is disc 5 with songs from the 80s. Next is disc 6 with songs from the 80s. Right. Next is disc 7 with songs from the 90s. Okay. Next is disc 8 with songs from the 90s. And next is disc 9 with the number 1s from the 60s and 70s. And next is disc 10 with number 1s from the 80s and 90s. Next is now spring 2005, so songs that were popular during the spring of 2005 in Australia. Next is 100% hits, the best of 2005. Right, next is now summer 2006, so songs popular during the summer of 2006 in Australia. Oop! Get back here, you! Excuse me. Next is now autumn 2006, so songs popular during the autumn of 2006 in Australia. Next is now winter 2006, songs popular during the winter of 2006 in Australia. Right, next is now spring 2006, so songs popular during the spring of 2006. Next is 100% hits, the best of 2006. Next is now summer 2007, so songs popular during the summer of 2007 in Australia. Whoop. Get back here, you! This in case you didn't see it. Right, next is so first songs of summer 2005 plus the biggest hits of 2004. next is So Fresh, the hits of autumn 2005. Next, So Fresh, the hits of winter 2005. Next is So Fresh, the hits of spring 2005. Next is So Fresh, hits of summer 2006 plus the best of 2005. Next is So Fresh, the hits of autumn 2006. Next is So Fresh, the hits of winter 2006. Right, next is So Fresh, the hits of spring 2006. Next is So Fresh, the hits of summer 2007 plus the best of 2006. Alright, next is So Fresh, the hits of autumn 2007. Next is So Fresh, the hits of winter 2007. Next is So Fresh, the hits of summer 2008 plus the best of 2007. Next is So Fresh, the hits of autumn 2008 plus a bonus DVD with some music videos. Next is So Fresh, the #1 hit. So songs that went to #1 in Australia. Four, please. Next is So Fresh, the top 10s from 1999 to 2008. Alright, next is So Fresh, greatest hits of the 90s. Alright, next is So Fresh, greatest hits of the 80s. Whoop, drop it. Get back here. Alright. The next set of albums are from the 0 to 9 series. So there's 0. And there's 1. Oop. And there's 2. There's 3. There's 4. And there's 5. And there's 6. There's 7. There's 8. And the last album from the 0 to 9 series is, of course, 9. Alright, next is the best of ABC for kids. So, in 2006, there was a poll on the ABC website in which their parents got to vote for some of the kids' favorite songs from various ABC for Kids albums. Right, next is Going Places, an ABC for Kids compilation album. Alright, next is ABC for Kids Greatest Hits. Alright, next is more ABC for Kids Greatest Hits. Alright, next is A Smorgasbord of Songs Eat to the Beat, which is an ABC for Kids compilation album. Next is Triple M Ashes of Rock. So for those who don't know, the Ashes is a popular cricket match between the UK and Australia. So one CD features Australian songs. Yeah, disc 1 has songs by Australian artists, and disc 2 has songs from British artists. Right, next is Drought Relief. We have artists for the Drought Appeal. So basically an album to raise money for the drought of 2018. Alright, next is Kids TV Theme, which is a compilation album released by ABC for Kids featuring theme songs from various ABC for Kids shows and non-ABC for Kids shows. Next is Hottest Hits. Next is ABC for Kids Dance Party. Alright, next is ABC for Kids Bumper Collection. Alright, next is Lots and Lots of Great Music for Kids featuring Banana Holiday, which is, as you can see here, is an ABC for Kids compilation album. Next is Disney Timeless Classics, which is a collection of songs from films from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to, what's the latest one is, The Fox and the Hound. Alright, next is Disney Modern Classics, which contains songs from films starting from The Little Mermaid to Toy Story 3. Next is Disney Television Classics, so songs related to Disney TV shows. Next is Disney Theme Park Classics, which is a collection of songs that can be heard from the Disney theme parks from California and Florida. Next is ABC for Kids Classic Kids Collection, which contains songs from Humphrey Bear, Bananas and Pajamas, Mr. Squiggle, and Play School. Right, next is Teddy Bear Magic, which is an ABC for Kids compilation album. Right, next is A Menagerie of Songs All About Animals. It's an ABC for Kids compilation album. Right, next is Disney Pixar classics. So a collection of songs and score pieces from Disney Pixar films, starting from Toy Story to Up. Alright, next is the Great Australian Songbook, The Music. Now there's a book released to coincide with this, but I don't have a copy of that book. Alright, next is Bushfire Aid, Artists for the Bushfire Pill. So this is a compilation album in which the proceeds from this were donated to the bushfire relief from the Victoria of 2009. Next is The Best of Pickwick Kids, which is an ABC for Kids compilation album, but there is another ABC for Kids compilation album called ABC for Kids Out of the Box, and it's the exact same version as this. And now to tell you a little story about this, and I'm not sure if it's the same with the ABC for Kids Out of the Box, but I'm pretty sure it is. But there's a bit of a glitch with this CD, which is basically from the first song on Bugs and Beetles by Franciscus Henry. When you put the CD on, it doesn't start with the song automatically. You have to wait like 16 seconds for the song starts, and then when it changes to the second track, which in this case is Evolution Shuffle by the Conway Brothers. It starts with the last few seconds of the previous track before it goes into the next song. And it's the same for all the songs. And with the last song on here, Ding Dong, which is Dead by Franciscus Henry, it doesn't actually play the whole way through the song, which is kind of strange. And the last compilation album that is not a soundtrack compilation album or a Christmas compilation album that I have is Ultimate Aussie Barbecue Soundtracks. Whew. And that's that.